Marie Curie was a pioneer in the study of radiation alongside her husband Pierre Curie. She succeeded in her endeavors of a great education during the Victorian era, which was exceptionally tough as many opportunities for women had not been available. She was born Maria Sklodowska in Warsaw, Poland on November 7, 1867 to a family of 4 children. She received her first scientific training from her father, who was an educator of physics. At 15, she graduated high school with top honors and a gold medal at the Russian secondary school. Females were not privileged with a tertiary education in Poland. As such, Maria and her older sister Bronia attended a floating university or an underground education facility which followed the Polish ideology of educating the youth, rather than the governing Russian authorities. They went to night classes kept in secrecy from the police. News had traveled to the sister that a university in Paris permitted females to study, so the girls made an agreement that Bronya would go to Paris first while Maria would stay and work to support the family and her sister's medical studies, and when she was finished the roles would be reversed. Marie took up jobs as a tutor and a governess at the age of 17. In 1891, at the age of 24, having saved up enough for her train passage, Marie reluctantly left her father and siblings, as her mother had died of tuberculosis, and joined her sister in Paris. There she enrolled at the Sorbonne University and changed her name to the French alternative, Marie. At that time, many girls had not studied the sciences, but Marie made a dutiful oath to make the absolute best of this opportunity and study profusely, secluded, and sometimes forgetting to eat, which wasn't much as she was not very affluent. Marie's dedication and hard work earned her the first master's degree in physics ever to be won by a woman in 1893 with top honors once again. She then worked at Lippmann's lab at Sorbonne, who was her former instructor and thesis advisor, where she pursued a career in math and science. She earned her second degree a year later in 1894 in mathematics, but ranking second in her class. She was the first woman to receive a PhD at a French university. In her search for a lab to work, she met Pierre Curie, who had volunteered his. They got married a year later on July 20th, 1895, and then commenced their joint work. They had their first daughter, Irene, 2 years into their marriage. Even though money was scarce, they paid a nanny to take care of the child while Marie worked endlessly at the lab. Their second daughter, Eve, was born several years later. Looking for a thesis, Marie came across a recent discovery in physics by a French physicist, Henri Becquerel. In 1896, he found that uranium gave off invisible radiations, later to be referred to as radiation. This intrigued Marie and she began her experiments to discover if this property was present in other elements and minerals. Marie had begun a friendly rivalry with Becquerel and also physicist Ernest Rutherford to be the first to understand the source, nature, and behavior of the alpha particles that Becquerel had first discovered. The phenomenon was new and required more in-lab experiments rather than theoretical work, which Marie preferred. She found that the known element thorium was radioactive. At the same time, so did German chemist Gerhard Karl Schmidt. Using a device made by her husband and his brother, Madame Curie measured the radiations coming from pitchblende, an ore containing uranium. She discovered that there was far more radioactivity in pitchblende than there was in pure uranium alone. During the next few years of their experiments, the Curies made several important discoveries. They were the first to prove that the atoms of some elements are continually breaking down independently, as such exuding radiations that could pass through many other materials. It was Marie who had first developed the theory that the emission of rays must be a phenomenon coming from within the uranium itself. She thought that the rays were part of the matter rather than being expelled after absorption. She called this occurrence radioactivity. This simple hypothesis became one of Marie's most revolutionary contributions to science as it led to the unfolding of the structure of the atom, from which others built their theories in the early 20th century. In their search for the hidden element in pitchblende, Marie and Pierre Curie discovered not one but two elements: polonium, in honor of Marie's birth country, and radium, a glowing element, in 1989. For this work, Becquerel, who discovered natural radioactivity, and the Curies received the 1903 Nobel Prize in Physics for their discovery of radioactive elements. Marie was the first woman to win this honor. The Curies were so committed that they didn't even leave their lab to collect the award as it could affect their work. On April 19, 1906, Pierre Curie died after a tragic accident with a heavy car. Despite her loss, Marie still continued her research and received her second Nobel Prize in 1911. This time in chemistry for the discovery of the two new elements, radium and polonium. She was the first person to receive two Nobel Awards in science, especially for a woman. She was given her husband's position as a physics professor at Sorbonne. The spot was high on the school's organizational hierarchy, and she was the first woman to ever achieve it. In 1911, she founded the Curie Institute of Radium to continue her work and became its first director. She later founded a similar institution in her native Warsaw, Poland. The Solvay conferences were held for the most distinctive individuals in the development of chemistry and physics. The delegates were initiated by the physicist whose idea founded the occurrence, Ernest Solvay. The purpose of these meetings was to solve fundamental problems in the world of science collectively as the best scientific minds. Madame Curie was the only woman to participate in these events. Marie's daughter Irene, whom she had trained to be her assistant, had won a Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1935 alongside her husband. Her second daughter won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1965. She used her knowledge to help the world. Curie's research was crucial in the development of X-rays in surgery. During World War I, Curie helped to equip ambulances with X-ray equipment, which she drove herself to the front lines. Despite her success, Marie continued to face great opposition from male scientists in France, and she never received significant financial benefits from her work. Madame Curie was at work on the isolation of a new element when she died on July 4, 1935. Her death was due to the overexposure of radioactivity which had poisoned her body tissue. Marie Curie made exceptional contributions to the world of science. Her work has been used to innovate new sources of energy and treatments for cancer. Marie Curie was truly a revolutionary physicist and a role model, especially to women both in the science community and the world. She was living historical proof that if you thrive hard enough for your dreams, you will succeed. She aided greatly in the change of the world's view of men's superiority over women.